Hello! So I recently separated all of my single shadows by color, as I've been anticipating for a super long time. I'll have that video linked down below. And today we're going to kick off my series of swatching all my shadows out and really kind of getting to know my collection. I've actually already filmed that part as we're talking now, so I'll post a screenshot of the palette as we're starting. Today we're doing all of my red and orange shadows. I want to say also that I definitely will be decluttering today and in probably all of these color videos, but decluttering is not necessarily my main objective. I'm just kind of trying to weed out the shadows that I wouldn't be excited to use and make sure that everything I have in my collection is things that I really enjoy. I don't want to pick up a shadow and then realize that it sucks and I'd rather use another one. I just want to enjoy my shades. So that's what we're doing today. I hope you like this because there's going to be way more to come, and let's just switch over to my hands. So this is what we're tackling today. Please ignore my cat scratch on my hand. Since this is the first group of colors that I'm going through and swatching, I don't really know what the sweet spot is. I don't know what's a good number of shadows to tackle at once. And at first I thought this was too many, but this is only 30. And I realized if I can't do 30 in one sitting, then we're going to be going through my eyeshadows for the rest of my life. So it'll be a little bit of a learning experience, and let's just get into it. I guess let's start with some mattes. I feel so unprepared. Yeah, let me just move the mattes so they're all kind of in a row-ish. Okay, so the first one we're gonna start with, this one is from Shroud. I had depotted my Creepy Cute palette, and this is just the orange one from there. I always kind of confuse this when I'm looking at it because it looks like other kind of creamsicle transitions that I have, but I'm pretty sure this one comes up more white based. So that's that there. This next one is Squashed from Luxie. This is one I do kind of think of as a transition, but it seemed more fitting with the oranges, so I have it here. I like it. It's an interesting color, and it's definitely more golden than the other creamsicle transitions that I have. This is ACM 25 from Adept. I don't think they're selling their matte singles anymore, but I do have this one. It's a pretty peach. I remember not being crazy about this matte formula, but it's nothing that I want to declutter right away, but I will kind of keep an eye on it going forward. It's a really pretty color though. So I do have some depotted Jeffree Star Shadows. I no longer support his brand, but I had depotted, I think this is from Blood Sugar, and I really like the tone of this. So you can see it's a little bit deeper and more corally than that Adept shadow. We're doing a big jump into Mango Margarita, is that what it's called? Yep, Mango Margarita from Give Me Glow. I thought this was going to be more subdued before I bought it, but it's super bright. It looks a little bit patchy also. I don't know if it's coming up that way. Yeah, it's not my favorite. I feel like it does kind of lean neon also, but I'm going to keep it around. This next one I think is from Davina. Yes, this is Iduna from Davina. I recently swatched my whole Davina collection, and this one feels so hard. I like the color of it, but I think I'm going to declutter it based on the formula. Next we'll go down here. This is Cannonball from Colourpop. I've had this for a really long time. Has a pretty nice dip in it. It's a nice deeper orange. It's interesting with certain families of colors. My collection, they are pretty different from each other. This next one's not so different, but it is definitely a little bit brighter, and I really like it. This is Mesa from Luxie. Luxie's matte formula is super nice. Yes, I think you can tell it's really not much of a difference, just one step brighter. And then we're stepping a little bit more into reds. I feel like this might have some overlap with the ones that I put in my neutral category, but here it is. This is Tutu from Menagerie. I also really like Menagerie's matte formula. They're very pigmented. Okay, that didn't come up super pigmented, but I really like it. And it actually looks more coral than I think it does in the pan. Maybe it looks pretty similar. Well, it's more coral than how I usually think of it, so that's good to know. Next we have Meteorite from Colourpop. This was in my first month of random palette selection, and based on it, I already decluttered 2 other shadows. It was like an orange one that was depotted from Jeffree Star, and Berry Blitz from Luxie. I talked about that in the video where I kind of like summed up my experience those first 2 months, but we know that's a good one because it's beating out other shadows already. Then these next couple are pretty different. I have 2 neons from Terra Moons. The formula is really not my favorite. It's very powdery, but I'm gathering that it's really hard to formulate pressed neons. I kind of just have to be choosy about how I use them. It's going to make a big mess if I try to blend it all over my eye, but I could dab it in, you know, for my lower lash line, something like that, and I do like having this. So this one's infrared. It does lean a little bit pink also. And then this one's Cosmic Blaze. I don't think it's coming up on camera as bright as it is, but it's like a super bright neon coral. I like the color of it. Next I have a Burgundy. This is from Luxie. It's in the shade Heartthrob, and it comes in handy a lot. It's a really nice, really pigmented shadow. And then I have 2 depotted singles from Jeffree Star. These are both from the Blood Sugar palette, and I feel like the quality in the Blood Sugar palette was pretty good. And in my experience, I had the purple one that I never can think of the name of when I talk about it, but that one I just didn't think was that good quality. But this Blood Sugar, it holds up. Those aren't the best swatches I've ever gotten of it, but I think it's pretty nice, just to build that one up a little more. So those are all the mattes, keeping all of them except for that Davina one there. And I don't think they're too similar, so that's nice. It's funny looking at these, I almost feel like I could possibly declutter those Jeffree Star ones. Let me really clean my fingers and try them again. Because the thing with the Jeffree Star ones is I'm less excited to use them, less excited to show them off. I don't like that they look so branded in my collection also with like the little pressed in logo. And I do plan to maybe eventually try to repot them into circular pans, but that sounds like a lot of work. So for this experiment, I'm going to bring in my Cherry Crush palette, which I used in February. And then in that video where I summed up my experience, I decluttered the shimmers and I kept the mattes, and I really like the mattes. And I think I'm going to swatch these 2 against those Jeffree Star 2. All of the weird red splashes you're seeing are just eyeshadow. A little bit of fallout, but those are super nice quality. You know, this color is definitely more purpley, but I think this one looks like the worst version of this one. So I think I'm going to declutter the lighter Jeffree Star one. I want my collection to be more fluid too, and I want to be able to like pull in from a palette if I want a certain shade, which is something that I just kind of feel like too overwhelmed with my collection to do right now. But I think that's a nice idea, that getting rid of that one. And this is just like my one perfect, really nice red. I do also have the Red Velvet palette from Glamlight, but I think that red might be a little bit more similar to this like Terra Moons one. I love the idea of like having both my hands swatched up and putting all the shimmers here, but I just know they're not going to be as good swatches. And then also you'll look at my cat scratch the whole time. So I'm going to wipe these off and then we're going to continue with the shimmers. Okay, on to the shimmers. I'm predicting that a lot of these orange shimmers are going to fall into the category of similar, but I like all of them. But we'll see. This isn't just about decluttering. This first one though, I am a little bit on the fence about. Luxie has some shadows that are just like, they look hard pan. They're not like the same shimmery formula. And this is definitely one of those. This is the shade Space Case. I think this was part of their old permanent collection. Yeah, it might work as like an inner corner shadow, but I just don't think I like it enough to keep it around and try. Okay, next I'm going to jump to this Adept one in the middle just because I think it might be kind of like the next up in lightness. I really like this. It's from the original Plain Jane palette from Adept. Oh, actually it's not. It was part of the Foreshadow kind of like add-on that they released at that same time, I think. This is ACI 15. I really hope that they eventually bring back those singles because this, oh my god, the shadow's so nice. I don't know if it's going to come up, but like it looks like purple and green right now. It looks very orange on camera. It's so pretty. Yeah, this is what I would probably put in my inner corner or all over my lid. It's really like a gorgeous shade. Probably one of my favorite shades in my collection. Okay, let me move my less similar colors and we'll swatch all the similar ones together. Okay, so these 6 here are definitely similar and I might want to keep all of them, but let's see. Let's start with this Menagerie one. This was from their Chameleon collection that came out last summer. It's the shade Koi. Super nice formula. And then at the same time we'll swatch Summer Rush from Shine by SD. This one looks orange in the pan, but I know that this one's really duochromatic and I'm seeing some green just looking at it. Really pretty. So that's Koi and Summer Rush. I see bright green right now. Yeah, those are super different, even though they might not look that way to you. Okay, next let's swatch this Cleona one. This is Majesty. I think this is one of their vibrant multichromes they're called. I don't think of this one as being that multichromatic, but it is gorgeous. And then this Terra Moons one. This is Solstice. So we have Majesty. Definitely looks a little bit more yellow than the other ones. And Solstice. Solstice is my least favorite so far, but it is like also the most just like orange. Maybe I can get rid of that one. Yeah, because I'm saying like it's a straight orange as if that's a good thing, but I just know that I would rather any of those on my eyes than that one. All right, cool, unexpected. The next 2, I think they're both from Luxie. This is Caterpillar. I think this is from their Butterfly Kisses collection last year. I think it's one of the best shades they have. And this one, I think I compared it recently because it's pretty similar to Caterpillar. This is the shade Tawny. It's from a more recent collection. So Caterpillar and Tawny. All right, looking at those 2, Tawny looks way lighter and just less spectacular, and I'm going to declutter that one. So cool, I wasn't sure if we were going to declutter any oranges, and 3 of the shimmers we already decluttered. Wow. So the next 2 are both from Shine by SD. They were both in my first order from them, and they're both pretty similar, and I still haven't like figured out what the distinction is. This one's in the shade Loved. Feels a little bit more dry, but it still like picks up super nicely. And the next one's the shade Second Love. So it's like they have a really similar name on top of looking really similar. This one feels a little bit more silky. Okay, so here's Love. And here's Second Love. You know, I'm not sure if they exactly belong with the oranges, but I think I'm going to declutter Love. I'm surprised with myself, but at the same time, I think I'll use it more if I'm not like, every time I look at those, I'm like, oh, which one's which? Like they're both kind of like orangey pinks. I just think Second Love is a little bit more interesting. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what this is all about. All right, and then we have 2 kind of more burnt oranges. This is Bonfire Babe from Luxie. This was in their fall collection. And then we have a colored rain shadow. This is the shade Tigress. Okay, so here's Bonfire Babe and Tigress. I really like Bonfire Babe. It's a pretty like reddish bronze. Tigress, the formula of it, it's like not as shimmery. These colored rain shadows are kind of weird, but it is like a nice, unique color, and I would probably use it like as a shimmer to deepen up a shimmery look, and I think it works well for that purpose. Okay, I'm going to talk about these 2 at the same time. This is ACI 13 from Adept. It was also from the same kind of add-on collection that this orange one was from, even though it's like a much more kind of like opaque and less shimmery formula, but it is nice if I remember correctly. And then I also want to mention Spiked from Terra Moons. I'm not sure if they still have this. I'm pretty sure they like said on their Instagram recently that it was being discontinued. I'm not sure if it's still available, but it is a really nice color. And I find these like shimmery reds kind of hard to come by. So this is Adept, and this is Terra Moons. Okay, they are kind of different. I'm surprised that this is the Adept one. It looks more brown than this. Did I swatch that right? I don't think I swatched that right. Let me swatch that again. Okay. Adept on my pointer finger and Terra Moons on my middle finger. Okay, so this is Adept, definitely. And this is Terra Moons. Okay, I think this Adept one's a little bit kind of more like light reflective, and the Terra Moons one is like a little bit more burnt and a little bit more brownish. But I do like both of them, and I'm not ready to make a decision. Next are two from Luxie. This is Rudy. This was from an older collection that I just picked up when I was buying a bunch of Luxie shadows. It's funny, I do see like a bronze reflect that I didn't know was there. Interesting. And this is One Night Stand. I think this might have been their permanent line. So we have Rudy and One Night Stand. You know, I feel like I never knew that Rudy had this really cool flip, so I'm happy I'm doing this. I think I want to declutter One Night Stand because I think I would just use this Adept one in its place. I don't know if this flip is going to give Rudy a staying place in my collection forever, but it's saving it today. Yes, it is. Okay, and two final ones for today. This is from Menagerie. It's the shade Pack Leader. And this is kind of like a reddish bronze. It looks very pink on camera, but not at all to my eye. It's really pretty. And you know what? This is kind of doing what Rudy's doing to me. It's more pink, but I think if anything that just kind of makes it more special to me. And I am going to declutter that Luxie one. Very interesting. And then the last one is one that kind of just didn't have a place to go because it's so many different colors. This is the Always Amazing Forge from Cleona. It's like a super flippy multi-chrome with red and bronze and green. It looks bright green from my angle. It's a spectacular shade that I definitely don't wear enough just because it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of difficult to wear in a way because it's just so much, but I love it and I love having it. And there's that baby. All right, so this wasn't so bad. This side of the palette is way less congested than it once was, and I'm really happy with that. Decluttered way more than I thought. So I'm keeping 25 shadows. And we're decluttering 8. And I'm really happy with that. I thought I was done, but, oh, I just scratched that. But I was playing with my shadows as I do, and I saw I have a couple mixed in with my pink palette that I think are better for here. They're all shades that I really love, so it's just gonna be a little shadow appreciation segment. So that's fun. This is ACI 7. It was in the Plain Jane palette. It's absolutely incredible. It's kind of just like the lighter version of the first one that we swatched of the Shimmers earlier. It's so pretty, and I think this would work even better as like an inner corner shade if I want something that kind of leans orange. But it's so like cool and transformative all over the lid. I feel like it works if you want like minimal pretty makeup, but like when it catches the light, it's like bam. And then we have Mercury from Terra Moons. This is one of their multi-chromes. It's kind of like a bronze as the primary color, but then it also has like gold, green, yellow in it. It's a really pretty shade. And this I also think is pretty easy to wear, but then it goes bam. I have 2 iridescent shadows. I do have a big separation of iridescent shadows, but I feel like it makes sense to swatch these here because I know them pretty well. I understand them. I remember them. And a lot of those other iridescent shades, I still kind of have to like do the work of figuring out the shift and figuring out how I like to wear them. But I've already done that with these. So I think they kind of make sense to be closed away in this red-orange section. So this one's Red Giant from Terra Moons. It's like a super pretty red reflect. And then also we have Phoenix from Terra Moons, which is one of my favorite shadows of all time. It's kind of like an orangey bronze reflect, and it's just so bold. So this is Red Giant and Phoenix. Wait. Okay, that's Red Giant, but then I swatched the wrong finger. So that was like the remnants of something else. This is Phoenix. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm expecting to see when I swatch it. I was like, what? What happened to my beloved Phoenix? But there she is, and she's so amazing. And then, I think the only appropriate time to swatch a glitter is when you're done swatching for the day, because it's probably going to be on my hand for a while. This is Hungry Ghost. I feel like it's like the glitter version of Phoenix. It's so pretty. I was wearing them layered in my February palette selection video, and I got like a couple comments about my eye makeup. It's such a pretty glitter. Like, it looks really pretty there, and I don't think it's even showing like all its facets, but it's so gorgeous. If I could only have one glitter in my life, it would definitely be that one. So yeah, ignoring that that accidental swatch, those are the last 5. And here are my survivors from this first declutter. Okay, so that was all of my red and orange shadows. We're left with this beautiful palette here. I use this on my eyes today. I have Luxie Squash and Mesa in my crease, and then on my lid I have this Menagerie shade that I just forgot the name of. Koi, how could I? And ACI 7 from Adept. And I really like it. Really pleased with it. If you enjoyed this, if you want to see more of my single shadows, there's definitely way more to come. Please give me a like, subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And that's everything for today. Bye.